Dajahao everyone. Hi everyone, my name is Akio Morita Sanga and I'm the poet that engineered design. Welcome back to our show, Trakir. And today we're giving the air to the voice to Cecile. She'll be showcasing and explaining how she built her brand in China. So for all wine lovers, stay tuned and we're giving air to the voice.
So I'm French.
Yes.
I'm 33 years old. I born in a gastronomic city in France called Lyon. And it's really part of myself because I love food. And everything in my family was a lot of celebration when food. And then I grew up in Paris. And when I was 15 years old, I entered into the hotel school. So hotel school in France is quite vast. Everything about tourism. You learn about the service, you learn how to cook, and I discovered wine there. Okay. And I got passionate about wine since I'm age 16, and was really like it became the passion of my life. I really disliked the way people teach about wine. Wine can very soon become elitist and complex because people use very technical words about wine. And I really do not approve that because for me wine is really about like sharing, about being together. Wine is life. So since that time, already age 16, I decided that my life purpose will be to make wine accessible for everyone.
Establishing your brand in China can be complex, especially when you have barriers such as language, competitors, and understanding of the product. Cecile breaks down what it takes to really build a wine brand and help have an organic feel without diverting or changing. So stay tuned as she elaborates and enlightens us of wine and how she approached this new market.
So my brand first is called Easy Bacchus. Easy because I want to make the wine easy and accessible for everyone. And do you know Bacchus?
No.
Bacchus is the Romanian god of wine. So I really wanted to go at the origin of wine. And my first product was a label using the 5 senses, where you can scratch and smell the wine label, touch. And everything about the 5 senses is really the basic of us, human body. So it's the same thing with Bacchus. He's at the origin and at the basic of the wine. So how to make the wine easy and accessible. I started with a marketing tool. Actually, so that was like that label, but there is different shape, like bottleneck, card, adhesive label like this. And it represents all the codes about the wine. There is the wine aromas. So for example, on that label, it's mulberry and licorice, and you can scratch and smell 100 times. So it enables you to, like for example, when you have a glass of wine, it enables you to recognize, oh, okay, that's the mulberry. But at some point, I was really annoyed because, in China, there is a lot of fake wine.
Yes.
And like, according to the studies, there is at least 1/3 of the imported wine in China which is fake, which is huge. And that's also a health concern. And I was annoyed and frustrated also to not be able to choose the wine, to really be able to show quality to offer quality to my customer. So then I decided myself to choose some wine, to make my own selection and to deliver the wine with the wine label. And I started to have my small online shop. But I also, in order to get known, started to do wine events. I did, and I still do today, wine event for companies. So it can be used for team building, but also for VIP event, for example, to impress, entertain special customers. But also for individuals. It can be held at a restaurant for a public event, but it can also be held at private people's house. For example, I'm the own sommelier. And I do educate about wine, but not like traditional wine education. My education is like no bullshit.
Okay.
No technical, really like easy, fun, accessible. And then I got to be known like myself, and people started to call me the Shenzhen wine lady, then the wine lady, and then Cici, which is my name, my Chinese name. People started to call me Cici, the wine lady. And now, actually, my previous brand name, Bacchus, is today really Cici, the wine lady. And still with the purpose to make wine accessible, easy and fun for most people. And of course, because of the recent situation with the virus, I switched a lot of my services online.
Okay. So, how have the customers in China responded to your brand? Oh, let me just ask, who are your customers?
Yes,
There's
first.
a billion customers. Who are your client base in China?
Yes, I agree, because like we can't define one Chinese customers, and even according to the different region, people act differently and have different habits and so on. So first about China market and wine. So as I mentioned at the beginning, China is booming. It will become soon the second wine market worldwide. So more and more people buy and drink wine. But before it was only the rich people who were buying wine. Now it's like the middle class. Everyone is interested in wine, especially the young consumer located in the tiers A, B, C city. So it means the city which are the most economic-wise dynamic in China. It's men and women, so who have higher disposable income, but which are really more savvy. They want to enjoy life, they have more money, and one of the ways also to look at the Western art de vivre, how we enjoy life in the West, and wine is part of it. And they really also, people enjoy wine because wine is about tradition, but like as a respected culture, like how the tea can be enjoyed in China. It has a story, it has values. And people enjoy this, but they have no clue of how to buy and how to taste. So my specific customer range is located in those big cities, tier A, B, Cs. I got myself a bit more of women, maybe because I'm a woman, I attracted more women in my event, but I also have a lot of men. Chinese, I also have a part of expat customers, which are quite young. So I will say in terms of age, it's between 20 to 35 years old. Yeah.
Okay, and how have the consumers responded to wine in China? What is the difference between consumers in Europe and China?
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it's totally different. For example, in Europe or US, people are buying wine to consume at their home, right? They are buying wine in a restaurant to pair with food. So wine is really part of the food tradition, but also occasion, special occasion. In China, two main ways of consumption. The first is gifting, company's gift, just relation gift. Wine was really at the beginning just a pure gift product, which had value. Now, the second way of consumption, which is really increasing, is social life. Wine is part of the social life. So people, when they go out, they want to have wine. When they go to a party, they want to have wine. But people in China, not many will buy wine to consume at home. So that's the main difference of how people consume wine. Then the second part of your question, how they do react to my brand. So actually my consumer quite well, so I'm quite happy. What they really enjoy is the no bullshit side. I will really be there and answering to their need, listening at the customers, explaining wine without being complex. And something also that I'm really proud and happy with is that when people usually go to my event and buy wine afterwards, they will continue to buy wine. I mean, even if they don't buy regularly, whenever they need wine, they will think to me because they know that I will be able to advise according to their taste and I will have some quality product.
What makes your brand distinct amongst all other wine ladies and gentlemen? Like, what makes your brand unique? And
Unique.
why should people work with you? Or why should people buy your product?
Interesting.
Yes.
Yes. I do believe that what makes my product unique is first is myself. As I mentioned, the name of my brand changed from Easy Bacchus to Cici the Wine Lady because people really identified myself and started to trust me. So I really think there is that trust factor, which is really important. You know, when I look at some articles, when I hear some sommelier, there are always some technical words, and I never use them. That's really my mantra. I never use technical words. I will speak like we speak today. I will make a lot of analogies using images. I always compare wine to a human body because it is really sensitive to so many factors. It is living and so on. So I think that's what make my brand and my services unique. And then quality of the product, because back to the fake wine that we find in China, and also as wine is very sensitive to many factors, the quality can be affected. Even if the wine is a real wine, if the temperature is not good, if the light is not good, the quality is affected. So I really take care a lot about all those factors, and so quality is also one of the main people appreciate, and that is not unique, but that's something essential for my customers.
Okay, so in your bio on LinkedIn that I was reading, it said you're using technology
Yes.
to educate about wine. Could you tell us about that?
Sure. So technologies is coming from the labels, which have 3 technological patents.
Okay.
Because actually to make those labels, we use perfume concentrate, and we will reduce it into powder, and then we will do a specific printing called offset printing. And then it will reduce all the perfume into some very, very tiny micro caps. And every time you scratch, you have some micro caps which spread, and then the perfume spread, okay? And you can do that 100 times. So there is really like that process which is very specific.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Thank you.
So would you say Shenzhen is the best city to build a brand in?
Wow, not for everyone.
Okay.
But for me, in terms of innovation, definitely Shenzhen is the place to be. So Shenzhen was known mostly for hardware production. And effectively now we say Shenzhen is the Silicon Valley of China. So it is for hardware the place to be. Now Shenzhen has developed a lot, and Shenzhen is also part of 11 cities called Greater Bay Area, with the Guangdong cities, Hong Kong, Macau. And it is really a hub of innovation. So if you have some innovative product, Shenzhen is the place to be, because everything goes fast, because you have the access to the factories, the proximity in terms of geography, and people are, I mean, Shenzhen was nothing 40 years back. So it's a new city where people come from everywhere, and they are business focused. And you can connect very easily. I'm sure you experienced that in the city, right?
Yeah.
Then for wine, very interesting, because people told me, what? You're not going to Shanghai, or Beijing, or maybe Hong Kong? So I landed in Shenzhen, actually with a fun story, because I wanted to go in China, and my boyfriend got at the same time I wanted to go in China, he got a work opportunity in Shenzhen. So this is why actually I landed in Shenzhen. I was finally very happy for the labels development, but at the end it's super interesting for the clientele, the wine clientele, because people are very early adopter in life. They want to try things. The population is very young. Among all the most economical, dynamic economical cities in China, Shenzhen is the one with the youngest population. So it's really perfect into my target clientele.
Okay.
So in terms of products itself, the labels, producing, as I mentioned, the labels were quite hard. Even if things go fast in Shenzhen, still took time to select the factories. I did not have at all money investment, so I really had to do everything by myself. I couldn't have some translator with me, so I just do it and find a way to communicate with the factories. So that was quite hard. Then the second obstacle, which is for me really a huge opportunity, is to understand about Chinese culture. Chinese culture is totally different than Western culture. And even if I had read some things before, you have to be here in China if you want to understand and launch some project, especially for Chinese market. So I spend time, and I still have Chinese friends today I spend time with to understand them. I change, for example, the design on some part of my label, using also different words to communicate about wine, to really adapt to the market. Also, adapting is in language, but also in the tools used. So people, as we mentioned, are very eager of new technologies, very early adopters. So a lot of things went also throughout the fund, because smartphone adoption is very high as well.
Okay. Can you tell us why is it this color?
Sure.
Why is the bottle smiling this way? Like, what's the whole creative process?
So first I have to give the credit to my two designers, because it's not me, even if today I'm doing the flyer myself. Okay. Everything from the base is coming from my two designers, Lena and Chloe, which are actually from France, okay? Because I started to work on the design from France. Of course, I adapted after being in China, but it started in France. So all the colors are around the purplish color of wine. They also have some red touch, orange, blue on the wine eddy. So the bottle is smiling because wine is smiling. Wine is fun. That was like the purpose of and on the logo you have the bottle with some drop coming out. It's really to make that dynamic effect, because wine is a living product, and it's smiling because I want to make wine fun. Okay, so that was for me definitely like the perfect logo that fits what I wanted to, and I still want to make. And then of course everything is around the wine typical colors. So I have a bit of Bordeaux, so that dark purple color and so on. The blue orange is for the wine eddy. Blue because, okay, I'm not today, but otherwise you will see 90% of the time myself in blue. I always wear blue, which is my favorite color. Okay. and orange as well, to make it dynamic and also to have a great mix with the other color used. It has to make some harmony. Okay. So, and then yeah, I really adapted. I changed because, for example, some fruits that I use on the labels, some Chinese people did not know about that fruit, so I also changed, with the help of my designer, the shape to make it more easier to recognize from clientele here.
What would you advise foreigners? Would you advise foreigners who want to build brands to come to China and develop their brands? What advice would you give?
So, for me, you can and you should come in China for either if you really want to produce some hardware or innovative product. The Greater Bay Area is definitely the place to be. And many come only here for production. So they come, they produce, they work with Chinese, but then they do not sell in Chinese market. They sell overseas, okay? So that's like the first reason. And the most known reason people come in that area. The second one is that if you want to offer a product for Chinese market, you need to be there, definitely. And the main advice will be to be open-minded, because things will be totally different. You will struggle every day. It's not easy. I mean, life. I heard a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I love China," and so on. No, for me, it was not easy. It was not easy at all every day, because every day I struggle to understand them, to understand the culture. I was very happy at the end of the day, but it's not 24 hours out easy. So you have to spend time to understand them, learn the culture. If you can learn the language, that will be definitely an asset. Most people that I know in China that speak very well Chinese, they started and come into China when they were students and spent 2-3 years studying full time, and then they got hired. So of course that's an incredible asset. But myself as an entrepreneur, I couldn't spend time and money learning Chinese. So I learned Chinese on site. Of course I can speak much more words about wine and food that's over topic in life, but still, like everything about culture, you have to invest time, and then being surrounded by the right person. It's so important, especially myself in my.
You say your network is your network.
Yeah, it's super important, and like especially myself, because I'm solo entrepreneur. I didn't have team around me to advise me, so I had to find the right people who knew then the people to connect me or to advise me or to say, okay, no, you're wrong, totally like it's bullshit. Okay. And to be able to, I will not say succeed, but just to be able to deliver the right product to the right people.
What is your vision for this brand? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? It's different stores, huge buildings?
No. Well, one thing I'm sure is that I will still have the purpose of making wine accessible for everyone. Not only maybe APP, I'm not sure store, but because I want to have an impact. I want to have an impact of people, because for me wine is really sharing, it's giving joy. Making people happy, giving life. So I want to continue to do that. Maybe it will be not under my brand, maybe with some other brand we will partner together. Maybe I will integrate some other wine brand, I don't know. I just know that I want to continue to make wine accessible. Asia speak to me a lot, because it's really an emerging market, and people also have more money, want to enjoy time, are interested in wine, and I think there is a lot to do here. But maybe somewhere else. See, what we've faced with COVID was incredible, and we had really to step back and pivot our business a lot. Like my business was only offline. I changed a lot with more and more services online. So who knows what happened tomorrow?
Okay. Do you think COVID is going to change industries for good after this moment? Everybody's going to be online and now values the importance of connectivity.
So not everything online, but I think, yes, online will be really part of our daily life in a term which is really higher than pre-COVID, sorry. Yeah, I really think that online will be nowadays really, really important. But it's not only about being online. It's also about being still able to bring value and engaging with customers. Because like everyone can be online, but the one who can bring value, who can engage with customers, they will be the one that succeeds.
So before the episode, I have to admit, I was actually oblivious of what wine is. But Cici enlightens us and educates us beyond the average saying, beyond the norms that we know about wine. In this final part, she tells us how to treat wine, what wine is, how to preserve it. And basically, you're just going to really understand who wine is, the soul of this beautiful drink.
Okay, so let's speak first. How do we hold the glass? What do you think? Do I hold the glass like this? We often see that, right, in the TV shows, so on, or like this, or like this.
I think from this tip.
This one? Why?
I don't know, it looks cool.
Looks cool.
Yes.
So actually, that way is the right one as well. That one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I learned like this in school, and I think I just took that a bit. But otherwise, that one is maybe the most comfortable and stable to get your wine stable. We don't hold the glass like this because for different reasons. First, it will warm the glass very quickly. And imagine if you have some rosé or white wine refreshing in that very hot heat from Shenzhen. Putting your hand will definitely warm up very quickly the glass. The second reason is that if I want to check the colors of the glass, if I have my hand, I will. Which color do you see? You can't see, right? So you need some white background to check and to have a neutral background to check the color of the wine. If you have your hand on top, that will cover. The third reason, also very important, is that speaking about COVID, we wash our hands very frequently, right? And the sanitizer smell is quite strong. So if I put my hand like this and I'm trying to smell at the wine, I will actually smell my skin. So putting up some distance will enable me to smell first the wine.
And you talked about wine being a human being. Please explain.
Sure, I love that. Okay, so wine is like a human body first because it's a living product. Wine is coming from the soil, grapes, and then it's highlighted by human. Okay, it's not human who make wine. It's coming from the soil first, so it's a living one. Then the wine will, there is all the winemaking process step. The wine will be put into bottle, but it doesn't stop here. Once into bottle, the wine will continue to evolve. And it will become from teenager to a young adult, maybe an adult, and then a grandpa, grandma stage. So it's really like us, human body. Then, as human, you know, we are very sensitive to factors. We don't like very cold temperature. We don't like hot temperature. We don't like bright light on us. We don't like to be shaken out. The wine is the same. Wine doesn't like cold, neither hot temperature, neither being shaken out. The wine doesn't like light, so it's very sensitive like us. The same thing. And then also, you know, when we become very old, sometimes we have some spots and things on our skin. Our skin is not so soft anymore, and the wine is the same. Can have some particles inside with time. So a lot of wine reaction is really like us, human body, and the most important is that we need air to breathe. So does the wine. It needs air. That's the reason why we swirl the glass to give some oxygen, air. Then the wine is breathing.
Are you listening?
And it will release the aromas. So if you smell the wine, okay, you can smell a few aromas, then you swirl, you really give oxygen into the wine and you smell again. That smell will be much more intense and you can smell a lot of aromas. Wine is like a human body, right? So I just mentioned sensitive to temperature. Yes. So the best temperature is 13 degrees. Okay. If you don't have, just put in some room with air conditioning. Okay. Doesn't like light, so don't put just in open area, just put some linen to cover. Okay. Then the position, as you mentioned, we tip horizontally the bottle if it has a real cork, because the cork needs to be in contact with the wine. If it's in a vertical position, the cork will not be in contact with the liquid.
Why does the cork need to?
Otherwise, it will dry up and then the wine will oxidize. so you will have some air inside, and the wine will take all the outside air and smell and taste, and that will be awful. So also, don't put close to some smelly places like kitchen. Don't put your wine in some places that can be shaken with vibration, like your laundry room with the laundry machine. Then humidity. Wine lacks actually humidity, but not Shenzhen humidity, okay? Not that level. It's quite difficult to get the right level of humidity, but just like some room with very frequent air, and like air conditioning is a good one. Yeah, so my advice to most of my customers is if you don't have really a proper cellar, just don't buy a lot of wine, especially in the heat. Just buy a few bottles, drink them, buy again, and so on.
Wow, that was very educative, right? You wine drinkers, you know, I hope you're learning something.
So thank you so much, Akio, for inviting me. I was really delighted sharing about wine. Thanks so much. Don't forget to subscribe to Trachea channel and to follow the channel as well. Thank you so much. Cheers.
I'd like you to subscribe to my videos and keep watching for the next kinds of videos that are going to come up. That are going to be creative, innovative, you know. We're giving air to the voice to all the entrepreneurs, innovators in Shenzhen, Shanghai, Beijing, and subsequently the world. So, 再见, and see you next time.